This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
What was Michael doing besides just commentary with Vince at the time? Because that's really good insight here in the late 90s.
Doing commentary. He was doing commentary. Then he did the live event centers, and he had his hands in a lot of different things.
Did he produce, though?
No, he wasn't producing wrestling matches by any stretch of the imagination. No one had the confidence in him at that point, but he was really, really good. The other thing was Michael was that guy that you would have a production meeting and you would lay everything out, and I dreaded it when I would say, questions, comments, anybody? And if Michael was sitting in the back left-hand corner of the room, I would look to the front right. Like, okay, nobody's got any questions? And, I got a question. Hey, I got... Constantly. He still does to this day. The thing about it is that his questions were very logical, very well thought out, and it made you sometimes feel real stupid because you missed it. But Michael would pick up on little nuances that would change things and make them mean a lot more. And that, to me, is the genius of Michael Hayes, being able to take the larger picture and making these fine details mean that much more. And that's what he did. So that eventually got noticed.
Well, it did get noticed. And, I mean, we know what his legacy has gone on to be. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little more, but I do want to talk about all of a sudden in 1999, he pops up wrestling again in Memphis for Power Pro Wrestling. Meltzer would write, "The Michael Hayes of 1984 would have been a superstar in the industry today. The Michael Hayes of 1999 is like a parody of a wrestler. It's this middle-aged, beer-bellied second baseman still wearing a tank top on a softball team who probably was a stud in his youth, if you get the picture. It was made worse when they showed a Hayes interview today and the Bad Street video from '84, and it's like seeing the father of a rocker trying to play a rocker." So Meltzer shitting on him, but why in the world did he try his hand again in wrestling in '99?
I think he just wanted to get in the ring and take some bumps and have some fun. That's really all it boils down to.
Well, he did. He even became the Power Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion in March of '99 and dropped it in May to J.R. Smooth, who's going to go on to become Rikishi. And later that month, he started managing the Hardys on TV. And that's probably the first time that a lot of fans who are listening to our show really were introduced to Michael Hayes. How did that pairing come to be?
We had the Hardy Boys, and go back to the camps that we used to have all the time, the Funkin' Dojos, and the Hardy Boys had been enhancement talent for us for so long, you kind of started to take them for granted. But they had been through that. They'd done that for several years. And now you look at new talent, where are you going to find them? And we're looking at some of these younger guys, and Cornette is the one who said, "God damn, what about the Hardys? We should bring them in." And we did. And we kept them off TV for a while, long enough so people would forget about all the times they'd had their ass whooped on TV. And we brought the Hardys in as a team, but neither one of them could talk. Jeff was terrified, and Matt thought he could talk, but really couldn't. They needed a mouthpiece. So the idea was Michael Hayes. And Michael liked the Hardy Boys, felt that they had a lot of upside. So Michael was going to be that mentor to be able to go out, cut the promos for the Hardy Boys, but also be at ringside to get them through their matches, to be right there to not only tell them what to do, but sometimes show them exactly what to do. And be in the heat of the moment and be able to call it for them. So Michael was there to get the Hardy Boys out of being that enhancement tag team and make them, if they were ever going to be big-time players, this was their chance to get out of that groove.
Let my family save your family some cash. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket, but we will save you money. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of how much. SaveWithConrad.com.
It's been said over the years, of course, that Michael Hayes was not only a big fan of the Hardy Boys, but Edge and Christian as well. And, of course, that group of guys had some absolutely legendary matches, and you've sort of talked about that in fun tones before, those tables, ladders, and chairs matches. What was the relationship like with those tag teams, and why was Michael so in love with them?
Because I think Michael saw him and Terry in both of those tag teams, being young, having their entire careers ahead of them, and being able to travel the world and learn and be able to experience all of these things. And I think I've told the story about the Hardy Boys sitting in the diner with Michael, and Michael having the idea of what was next for the Hardys. I got an idea. How about we get these dusters, all of us, and at full length all the way to the ground, we take forks and knives and spoons, and we put them on the jackets. Ain't nobody else gonna have that. Ain't nobody else gonna have that. That was his great idea for the Hardys, which actually would have been pretty cool because somebody else would have had it.
Motherfucker, if somebody shows up on Raw or SmackDown with utensils on it, I'm blaming you and Hayes. All right, so let's keep it going. Let's talk about Fully Loaded, 1999, I believe. July 25th in Buffalo, New York. We've got Farouk and Bradshaw. They're the Acolytes. And they're going to win the tag titles, beating Matt and Jeff and Michael Hayes. It's 2-on-3 here. And the match gets started, and JBL clotheslines the shit out of Michael Hayes. And the finish is a double powerbomb on Michael Hayes. So Michael Hayes actually gets pinned and costs the Hardys their tag titles. What do you remember about this match?
Dude. It was time for Michael. He had done all he could do with the Hardys, and it was actually kind of the original intent. I think that we had served that master, and Michael also being in the production meetings was, you saw what he did for the Hardys. He had good ideas for other people. So Vince started to listen to him more and gave him more opportunities to be a part. Not if he can do that for the Hardys and these guys, what can he do for other talent? And so Michael was brought into that creative process and used to help, before we get to TV.
The August 9th Raw, we would see Gangrel beat Christian with the implant DDT after blowing mist in his eyes, and then the Hardy Boys would come out during the match and jump Christian. Edge makes the save, but Gangrel DDTs him, and then Michael Hayes runs in to pull the Hardy Boys off, but they turn on him, and you could have heard a pin drop when they turned on Hayes. And they each gave Hayes a twist of fate, and that's it. No more Hayes, no more Hardy Boys. Was Michael disappointed he wasn't going to be on TV anymore?
Well, I think Michael felt, I should have a comeback. What the fuck? How about if I went out and brought the Road Warriors in? Something. I think Michael really felt that he should have had a comeback of some sort in there, but he was moving on. He was moving on to do what I think is, I'm not taking anything away from his in-ring career because he had a great one.
Sure.
Phenomenal one. But I think that his forte was behind the scenes.
Well, he goes back to backstage work and doing color commentary again, and he starts doing that on September 23rd, 1999 on SmackDown. And he does some color commentary work on Sunday Night Heat alongside Michael Cole and Kevin Kelly from 2000 to 2001. We used on a lot of international broadcasts. We just covered our WrestleMania 17 episode. He got a huge pop in the Gimmick Battle Royal. How excited was he to dust off that old robe and strut ass down there in Texas again?
I think it was vindication for Michael to come out, do it in Texas, Houston, where
it's WrestleMania.
It's WrestleMania. And Freebird's coming out, do. But the place exploded for him.
Sure they did.
They were happy to see him, and he was happy to be out there, so it was a lot of fun for a Freebird. First time to be in a WrestleMania.
What does he do sort of backstage at that point? 01, 02, 03?
Michael was an agent. He was also a part of the writing team. So he was part of creative and creating a lot of that stuff.
Tell me not now, but what did it look like back in 02, 03? The writing process, the teams, if you will.
Well, they would get together and they would come up with TV, and then they would pitch Vince. And
I want to get real granular here for a minute. Like, they get together in Stamford. There's a room in the headquarters.
Yeah, and actually, I wasn't a part of it at that time. I was still in talent relations. So
but you knew how it happened.
It just was. It was those guys getting together, and they had offices, and they had a writing room, I think, at the studio. So those guys would all get together. Then they would pitch Vince, and they would get together and work with Vince and talk about ideas for TV, put it all on paper, and then go execute.
These days, people probably can do, group social media chats or group text messages. Back then, was it all by email, or if somebody had an idea, just strike them in the middle of the night, they wrote it down and then presented it at the round table the next week?
We had phones.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like...
Yeah. No, a lot of it was on the phone. A lot of it was just writing it down. Yes, we had email, but
that wasn't the go-to.
I still don't use email.
No, I'm aware.
As effectively as I guess I should. But, and for some of us old-timers, that's a hiccup. I mean, I still write with pencil. And because...
And some of your old notes are fading now.
They are.
Because the lead is disappearing. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
So let's talk about something that you knew we were going to bring up, the plane ride from hell, May 5th, 2002. I wasn't there. I know you're going to say that, but Sean Waltman says, Michael Hayes was getting real bad, and he's got a lot of heat. Nobody likes him. He was drunk, rowdy as fuck, like being a dick, loud and obnoxious. Hayes almost pissed on Linda McMahon. He was all fucked up, trying to whip his dick out. He didn't know it was Linda. He thinks he's at a fucking bathroom. And he starts saying, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. He just keeps saying, wait a minute, over and over. And the story goes that Bradshaw fucking clocked him and knocked him out. So Hayes is out cold, and he's got that fucking long hair and a ponytail and that mullet. You're still rocking the mullet. And I said, somebody get me a pair of scissors. And I remember Lawler over there just giggling, and everybody's like, no, you're not going to do it. I grabbed those scissors like I was pulling a pair of tape brass knucks out of my tights, really over-exaggerating. And the whole plane just erupted. And Hayes would not realize it was gone until he went through customs. Now, this is all Sean Waltman's account of what happened. What do you remember about the plane ride from hell and the shenanigans Michael Hayes allegedly was involved in?
Well, okay, first of all, those are two different plane rides that kind of merged into one, because the alleged urination took place in another plane ride that I was actually a part of. The plane ride from hell is where Michael got his ponytail cut off. And from what I hear, is kind of that's how it happened. Michael passed out up in the front of the plane, and they kind of had enough, and his ponytail was gone. And when he discovered, hi, who's the pussy that ain't got the balls to face me? And like Jerry Briscoe finally threw his bags up because Michael was challenging everybody on the plane, and Briscoe goes, Michael, you want to fight? We ain't fight. Fuck it. Let's go right now. I don't care. I didn't cut your hair, but shut the fuck up. We can go right now. And then when it was Jerry Briscoe that shut up, that said something, well, fuck. I won't fight you, Jerry.
So the peeing on Vince, Linda McMahon, pretty famous story. He even alluded to it in his Hall of Fame speech. It led to a saying that became pretty popular with him and some WWE brass. That's on you.
Yeah. Well, Michael had to go to the bathroom. He walked up. He was close to the bathroom, and he started to. I guess he thought he was in the bathroom. I saw it from behind. Hunter saw it from the front. But we both saw it, thankfully, before it was too late, and tackled Michael into the actual bathroom. It was one of those doors that kind of went in, and both Hunter and I are kind of looking at ourselves going, God, he's not pissing on us, is he? Because, Freebird was free.
Okay, time out. What does it say about how great Michael Hayes is at what he does and how much Vince appreciates him when you consider the stories about him almost pissing on Linda, the airplane ride from hell, Stephanie's wedding, just on and on and on? The guy is a wrestling genius. What other explanation would there be to put up with such crazy behavior? Even one of those stories would get you cut, right? You would think. I mean, think about all the silly stuff that's happened in WWE in the last 30 years that we heard resulted in a firing or a dismissal. Nobody almost pissed on Linda. It just goes to show you that Michael Hayes is a lovable dude. Now, we know that because we know him in real life, but we can't convey that enough. But not only is he a likable dude and easy to love, but my God, he must be a wrestling genius for Vince McMahon to do this. We all know how quirky Vince is. And for him to sort of turn a blind eye, if you will, or just keep him under his employ, God bless you, Michael Hayes. We love you, but apparently not as much as Vince does. Let's get back to it. Something to wrestle with Michael Hayes. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.